You're listening to a DM podcast.
We would like to acknowledge and give thanks to the traditional owners of the land we record this podcast on, the Yagara and Turrbal people,
and their continued connection to the land and waterways on which we meet.
Hello and welcome to Sportish, where we look at life through the lens of sport. My name is Georgie Trickett.
And I'm Libby Trickett.
Elizabeth, it's so nice to see you over the line this evening as we record.
As always, Georgina. It's my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine.
It's your pleasure.
It's your pleasure to be with me tonight. As we record, it is nighttime.
It is this week. As always, we're fast and loose with when we get to have these sportish conversations, but we do always seem to fit it in.
We managed to do it, which I think, well done us.
Is a goddamn miracle.
And well done everyone who's listening, but well done us for doing it.
Hey, Lib, I have a little bit of a tradition on a Saturday morning. I have accepted that the newspaper is still not really a part of my life. Like, even though my kids are getting older now and Saturday mornings are becoming more and more less hectic, like more opportunities for sleep-ins if there's not sport or that sort of thing. The newspaper's still not there, but what is there is the opportunity to just lie in bed, maybe for just 15 minutes, just a little bit of time, and read any of the newsletters that I subscribe to in a really toxic way that just collect in my inbox that I may or may not ever get to read.
Love this.
There are a couple that I always prioritise. So there's a news email called The Squiz, which I read every day, which I love. And then on a Saturday morning, I receive the ABC Sport Daily newsletter. And it's my favourite sports newsletter of the week.
Do you froth on it? Is it?
I love it. Like, it's really, you know, when you realise you've got a dependency on
like
something.
A 70-year-old woman in a 40-something-year-old's body.
I'm just, God, I love a bit of the ABC. It popped into my inbox and I thought, hello, it's Saturday morning. I'm going to take 5 minutes to read this. And immediately my heart sank. Because an issue I thought had been progressing and evolving and improving in one of our national sports, as it turns out, it's not. And I feel like this wrap-up from Patrick Stack, who writes this newsletter and is the host of ABC Sport Daily, really sums it up. So if you could just bear with me.
Please, read.
It's time for a little bit of reading.
Little story time by Georgie and Ben.
Who's Ben?
Is Ben? No?
No, it's Patrick.
Patrick.
Keep up.
Definitely listening.
Libby, I need your full attention. This is a serious national issue.
I definitely didn't just preemptively tune out. I'm listening, I promise.
The newsletter's called Really Adelaide. Well, we're back here again. In the wake of Isaac Rankin's 4-game suspension for a homophobic slur, there was a sense of a sport and broader culture with an opportunity for growth. The handling of the scandal had been something of a fiasco from the head office, but the broader vibe seemed to be something of a shift. This wouldn't be tolerated. AFL Players President Darcy Moore called it a clear red line. Collingwood's Isaac Quaynor had been at the centre of the Rankin story, so when the two teams reunited for the first game of the AFL Finals, there was an uneasy curiosity. Would we see a flashpoint between the playing groups? It came from the other side of the fence as some Crows supporters booed the defender all Thursday night. It was a grim reminder of how the issue was being received in sections of the wider community. ABC AFL commentator Corbett Middlemass drove to the heart of the matter. I felt for the members of the LGBTQ community that are Adelaide Crows fans. Imagine you've got someone sitting beside you jeering the guy who received a homophobic slur. That's his biggest crime. It's a shocking look for the game. Adelaide coach Matthew Nix was impressive as the Rankin story initially emerged. He was quick to make the point that while the club had the star players' well-being front of mind, the coach was clear that Rankin is not the victim here. How disappointing then to see such a meek reaction after this latest episode. It's not one for me to comment on, Nick said. But I'm also sitting in a box. I'm not seeing or hearing any of that. I'm seeing a stadium that's rocking, which it should do for a final, but I'm not going to comment around that. It reminded me of Adelaide captain Jordan Dawson when asked at the start of this saga if the AFL had a broader issue with homophobia. A short, sharp no was the reply. And around we go, making the same mistakes in new and different ways that feel depressingly similar. We've been watching this issue unfold, and it hadn't been something that we had discussed yet on the podcast.
Yeah, we hadn't.
Just because of the way different stories had then been picked up to do with it. We also know that a week after the Isaac Rankin saga unfolded, former West Coast player Mitch Brown, who played in the league for 10 years, identified as a bisexual man. And so we have this situation in the AFL, and he was the first player to ever come out.
I mean, that's crazy.
And we have this situation where there are 18 clubs in the league. Only 9 of them in the week that followed put out any statement in support of Mitch. So we've got this issue of players on the field making homophobic slurs. This was the 6th incident in 16 months. The response has been ratcheting up each time. And then we've also got a player who's come out, but the clubs haven't really known how to respond. And then on last week during our finals fixtures, we see the person who was at the centre of this homophobic slur then being booed by a crowd and a club not knowing how to deal with that. And I guess I raise it all because my question is, why are clubs so unsure about their role in this space? Why do they not feel comfortable to be those beacons in the community that can say, we don't accept this sort of behaviour. We are not about that as a club. What is missing in these clubs that they don't have the confidence or the willingness to do that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, it's just, I guess what's so disappointing in 2025 is the inability for like broad chunks of people. You know, this isn't just the crowd. This isn't just one team or one set of leadership or AFL. Like it keeps going like bigger and bigger, right? So many layers of people that have just seemingly forgotten how to be a human and how to be just a respectful, kind, understanding, empathetic human and responding as such. You know, this isn't acceptable. Obviously, none of this is acceptable, but just to come out and go, like, they may not have the words, you know, they may not have the right language to say, but to go, that's not okay. And we are certainly going to do everything in our power to educate, to inform, you know, to find out where things are going wrong and where people think that this is acceptable behavior. Because in my opinion, as insert leadership role here, that is not what we stand for as a club, as a community. So, like, I don't know. I think that's where I've come to with this kind of conversation. The fact that someone like Mitch Brown has to come out, you know, and say what his sexual orientation is just mind-blowing in 2025. But then the fact that this hasn't been just broadly and warmly received and celebrated and, you know, cheered on essentially, like, what are we doing? Like, why is this so hard?
And it's such a missed opportunity because we know that organisations that have diversity perform better. And if you apply that to a sports setting, if you make your club welcoming to people of different sexual orientation, different races, different religions, if you are that club, then arguably your performance is going to be amazing if that's what you're motivated by. But also you build a really welcoming and inclusive, and you build something quite special in terms of community.
And you just build better humans.
And I think at a time when, you know, there are marches in the streets that are protesting against immigration and people who might look different. Yeah. So if we're in that sort of time, sporting clubs have a real opportunity to be a place of safety, to be a place of refuge, and to be a place of leadership in these issues.
But don't you want to be? Like, don't you want that? Like, don't you want to be as you said, like if you're driven by performance, this is a tried and true way to create better performance in your club. And obviously as an AFL club, that's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for that performance. So, and more than anything, like, don't you want to leave the world a little bit better than what you came into? You know, like, let's make the world safer. Let's make it more welcoming and inclusive and share the joy that sport brings to so many people, not just a certain demographic. Oh, actually, I've got 2 quick things to tell you about.
I love that 2 quick things is back.
Remember Sporties? We had 2 quick things a million years ago.
Look, these things can roll in and roll out as it suits. And I think if it strikes you, Libby, let's bring it.
There's fads, right? Like in clothing, they always come back. So this is where we're at.
2 quick things.
2 quick things. 2 interesting quick things about my 2 favorite sports, F1 and cycling. So Monza, F1, very exciting race over the weekend. The week before, Oscar Piastri had won, easily dominated from start to finish. It was awesome. This week, Lando Norris, also from the McLaren team, pole position, was doing really well. McLaren stuffed up his...
Yeah, what happened?
His pit stop. Yeah, so front left tyre, they just couldn't get it on properly.
My God, can you imagine being that guy or girl? You've got like one job. It should only take you 2 seconds and you stuff it up.
Right. So instead of 2 seconds, it was almost 6 seconds.
Unacceptable.
But what happened, I saw the footage. The poor guy did the doodad, like where you, but then the guy behind him was like, "Oh mate, it's not on properly," and so he had to go again, which eventually got it back on. Again, took 6 seconds instead of 2 seconds, and in F1 that is like a lifetime.
Yeah, dead.
So Oscar Piastri was coming up on the outside of pit lane, overtook Lando as he was coming back out from the pit stop, and then over race radio, they told Oscar that he had to give the place back because of the slow change of tyres. And Oscar was like, I thought slow pit stops is just part of racing. So on what planet do I need to give this place back?
Oh, was that what he said?
Yeah. He's like, I just thought slow pit stops is part of racing, because they said you can give Lando the place back, like give Lando the space to get back into first, and then you can race, like you're free to race. But yeah, they made him give Lando the spot back, and I'm torn because I'm a fan of Lando. I'm also obviously a fan of Oscar, but I do feel like that is just part and parcel of racing. Like if Max Verstappen had a slow pit stop, that's just what it is. And so Max is not going to, get given the spot back because of his slow pit stop.
But it wasn't driver error.
No, it wasn't driver error.
It was team error. Because I was thinking back to the last time when Oscar wanted his spot back and he asked McLaren if Lando would concede his spot, and they were like, just pretended like they hadn't heard it for 5 minutes. And they're like, no, just as you are, race on. But that was to do with this. I'm pretty sure that was the race where Oscar had been penalised for doing a really dodgy slam of the brakes when he was the safety car. So that was him.
Yes, driver error, right? So that's what I find so interesting. But like the McLaren team and just F1 at the moment is just the gift that keeps on giving. And once again, I cannot wait for Drive to Survive next year because it's just there's so many storylines this year that is just so. I'm so excited to dig into. The other quick story that I wanted to tell you was at the Vuelta,
which is the cycling.
Jonas Vingegaard is doing very well. Also for Aussies, Jai Hindley he's like absolutely grinding it out. There's a shot that he might get into third.
Oh, which is amazing.
Also, Jay Vine is currently King of the Mountains jersey holder. The interesting thing was it was stage 12, this incredible race from start to finish. But at the end, this is like, it was going from Bilbao to Bilbao, basically, this area of Spain. And during the final stages, they had to do like 2 loops of the final state, like final area, like the finish line, I guess you would call it, some might say.
Some might call it a finish line.
Some might call it the finish line. There was a massive protest. So it was a Free Palestine protest. There was people with flags, like really intense scenes, because obviously it's an intense situation. But to the point that race organisers then had to neutralise the race and actually had to call the finish line, essentially the virtual finish line, at 3 kilometres to go. So the times were going to be taken at that space, but there would be no winner called. So at the end of the race, it was between Tom Pidcock and Jonas Vingegaard, and it was so fascinating to me to see the different ways that they responded. So Jonas was
because Pidcock is from the UK and he's a sort of up-and-coming cyclist, is that right?
He a fiery boy.
He's from mountain biking?
Yeah, cyclocross or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So he was pissed. Like, he was so pissed. He was basically like, we're not racing for the effing, sportive, which I assume is like some low-level sport cycling term.
F4.
Yeah, of the cycling world. Yeah, so like he was pissed and he's like, I felt really good and, maybe I wouldn't have won, but I felt really good and I had an opportunity to win. There should always be a winner in cycling, whereas Jonas was much more placid and, as he is, he's just a bit more chill about it all. But it was just so fascinating because I've never seen anything like it in any sort of racing where due to protests, and this was not just right at the end, there was like a couple in between, like during the stage as well, like people walking across the road and things like that. So yeah, it was really intense. And I just kind of like, I feel for the cyclists because obviously that's dangerous, but also you go, it is just a race and there are more important things.
It's just sport.
Yeah, it's just sport and there's more things going on in the world than a funny little cycling race around Spain. Anyway, that was my 2 quick things.
With excellent tapas.
Excellent, like the best tapas you can imagine.
So good. So, Elizabeth, on the weekend, I was down in northern New South Wales, which was glorious. It was like the opening of the summer season, and it was so excited to get down to the beach and hang out with friends. I haven't actually updated you on this, but the friends we were staying with, they have some cricket-obsessed children.
Amazing.
And the middle child saved up a whole lot of vouchers over like an 18-month period of time, and he saved them all together to buy himself a batting machine. And they have...
Wow, that is commitment and I love it. I'm here for it.
I love it so much. So he saved up all his money to buy this batting machine, and then they had actually been a family that had been flooded when the recent floods happened in northern New South Wales. They had, had water come through their house, and consequently they had lifted up their house. And when they did, they realised that they had the opportunity to put down AstroTurf in this newly created under house area. And they've essentially built a batting cage.
Oh my God.
From the most awful of situations, these beautiful friends of ours who so much of their house was affected by the flood then took a situation that had, lemons and absolutely made lemonade and created a batting cage.
Why not?
So, they've gone and found netting to hang up, and then the middle child saved up to buy a batting machine. And so, of course, Saturday morning we go and watch all the kids play sport, blah, blah, blah. And we get home, we have lunch, and then someone just was like, should we turn the batting machine on? And so down go the 4 adults and the 6 children. And so we then proceeded to have the next 2.5 hours of different sports rotations. So there was
Brilliant.
like someone had softball gloves, so we were throwing softballs. There was a ping pong table, so playing ping pong, and then the batting machine. We all had to go on the batting machine.
How'd you go?
Mate, I've still got it.
Do you?
Oh, it was so good. I want a batting machine.
All right, Georgie. All right. Got tickets on yourself now that you've had one batting cage experience.
One batting cage. No, someone took a video. I absolutely look like a softballer holding a cricket bat. Like my stance is wrong. I'm hitting the ball like I would if I was a softball player. It just
Tell me you're posting
so,
this on social media, please.
Oh, imminently.
Okay,
I'm in my genes just having the greatest crack at it. But so as part of this weekend with our friends, I got talking to the middle child who saved up all his vouchers. His name is Ash, and he continues to support my theory that I have had for some time, that if you want to understand where any sports teams are up to in any specific league, you just have to find a child between the ages of 10 and 14 who's sport obsessed.
Amazing.
So it's not all kids, and it does skew a little bit to boys. I would say that. I'm not saying – I'm sure there's girls out there. I have no doubt about it. But I do love it when I catch up with a child between the age of 10 and 14 that I can say, hey, how do you think the Lions are going at the moment? And boom, they can just give me the summary of everything that's going on in the AFL. They can talk about the draft that's coming up. They can talk about what the injury list is looking like, who's strong, who's not. And so with Ash on the weekend, we got talking NRL. Now, Ash, you're in the middle of watching the final game of the regular season at the moment. Who is playing in that game?
It's Eagles versus Knights, so both teams aren't really in contention for finals. So it's dead rubber, basically, but it's pride, and also for the Knights, it's Eagles versus Knights. If the Knights lose, they are going up for the wooden spoon, so it's a big game for them.
It's never pretty to get that wooden spoon. So now that all the games of this round have wrapped up, who do we have in the top 8 that go through to the finals? Is it a top 8 finals series? Is that how it works?
Yes, so it's top 8, and the top 4 was set from the start of the season, but it's been mixing around a bit. So, top 4 is Raiders, who have been staying first all season, Storm and Bulldogs, and then Broncos, who have came in late. And then the last 4 are Warriors, Panthers, I think are 6 and 7, and Roosters are 8. Maybe Sharks are 5?
I like how you said that the top 4 was set at the start of the season. Were they dominant last season and they came through and that's why you knew at the beginning that they would be in that top 4 position?
No, sort of the first 5-10 rounds they broke off from the rest of the competition.
And where does Penrith featured? Are they in that top 8 or they've dropped out?
Penrith are in 7th currently, so they are in a elimination.
Yeah, and they were very much in a rebuilding phase this year, aren't they, after being so dominant over the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, they've lost a fair few players that they had in those 4 years, but they've also got some new players coming through that are doing really well.
Who do you think is the most exciting team going into this final series?
Storm has a bit of pizzazz about them. I think the Raiders, they don't play off set plays. They just play off the top of their mind. Nothing about them everything's improvised. So there's a fair bit of character in how they're throwing the footy around. Yeah, they've got a really standard team, but they're doing non-standard stuff.
Oh, I love that. Would you say they're the sentimental favourites for this final series?
No, it was always said that they would get in first and then get knocked off, but they've just kept on winning. Yeah, Storm have been favourites for a long time, but they've just not been performing as well as they should have, and Raiders have just, kept on going. Going into this final series, who do you think is the villain of the story? Who do we keep an eye on as we go in and just think, oh, God, here they go? Definitely Spencer Leniu.
Who does he play for?
Spencer Leniu, he plays for the Roosters, who are in 8th position. He is known for his aggression off the bench. So he's played in New South Wales teams and even, I think, once appeared for Samoa. He has a lot of aggression.
Okay, so he comes off the bench hot.
Yeah.
And he's looking to swing.
Yeah.
If we had to find a hero in the series, who's coming through as the real hero of the show this year?
It'll probably be Nathan Cleary, to be honest. Like, he's probably going to bring up those clutch plays when the Panthers need it. But, yeah, there's a lot of players out there who are just, like, doing their thing and doing really well. But Nathan Cleary, I reckon, with all his talent and with all he's got, he's just an amazing player.
Now, I know you're hot on the Raiders and you think they're in a really favourable position, but is there another team in the group that we need to keep an eye on?
Panthers have been coming home really strong, but Bulldogs as well, they've been so consistent. And one of their really underrated features is their forward pack. So normally teams like the Broncos or other teams have these really big and strong forwards, but Bulldogs, they've gone with a different approach and they've got small, lightweight, mobile forwards that have really made a difference and changed the game.
Ash, I love how much you know about this. Who are the two teams that we should expect to see in the grand final?
Storm, and if Raiders can keep their composure, then probably the Raiders.
Do you think that'll be a tight match?
I know, but with Raiders, they haven't really been in finals since 2020, where they were knocked out in the semis. But really, it was only 2019 when they were in the grand final versus the Roosters, so that they lost that. But I know, maybe it's sort of a bit of redemption when they're rebuilding the team. And the Raiders team is only going to get better. So if they win now, it could be a Panthers all over again.
Ash, it's exciting to watch. I'm thrilled that we've hit this part of the season because this is absolutely when I clock in to NRL land and pay a bit more attention. We have loved having you on as our first NRL correspondent. Would you be happy to come back on the show another time and talk a bit more sport with us?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you.
So, Libby, you've now been briefed. You now understand everything that's going on in NRL.
I know everything. I was so far behind and now Ash has just brought me right back up to speed. I love him. That is amazing.
We are happy sporties. If you have a correspondent in your life who would like to give us an update on any of the sports going around.
Any sport, like whatever they're into, pickleball.
All of it. We are happy to talk whatever sport, whatever interest. If there are junior sporties out there who want to have a go on the mic, we're very excited to include them in this conversation because these kids know so much more about sport than we do. Let's be honest.
So much more detail, much more research and information. And yet we're the ones
They're
with
exceptional.
podcasts. It's not fair.
Let the children speak. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Sportish. We love having these conversations with you. Thank you for the feedback we've received so far from our listeners about what you want to see in the podcast. We love that feedback.
So
we are
good.
very coachable.
We're coachable. Tell us what you want. We're here for you.
We haven't had a midweek Hall of Fame lately, so if you've got someone who you want to shout out for being an exceptional community sports person, send us a message, send us a DM, send us a voice note. We'll accept them all.
We'll love it. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye.